Okay, welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. I'm doing another interview. Today I have Charlia from Boston, and she's a targeted individual. How you doing?
I'm alright. Hi.
What's going on? So,
I'm not good.
let me get my volume just about a little more. So, do you want to tell me a little bit about your own remote neural monitoring
Yes.
and how's that been for you?
It's been awful. It's really difficult, but I'm glad that I can talk about it and get it out there as to what has been happening to me.
Yeah. So, we've spoken a few times. I'm going through the same thing. Our situations are a little different. So, I have the full-blown artificial telepathy. You're definitely receiving broadcasts because I've seen it in your photos. And, isn't it strange that sometimes you could feel some type of way that's not your feelings?
Yeah. They do that a lot. Can project anger, fear, and weird feelings. They can do pretty much anything that has access to the brain or to the mind.
Right.
Not just me, but I have children, and so my children are able to say certain things, like they can feel certain things.
Right.
Zaps on their body. So it's a really good thing that you were able to depict it in the pictures and that you're able to see the remote neural monitoring, because before that, I didn't know really what was going on or how to be able to show what's going on and be able to see who and what. And I think that's really important to know when you're going through something like this.
Right. Well, in my situation, I've known from the beginning who was responsible, and it really hasn't helped me that much to know who, other than I know who to blame, and I kind of know some of the people that are involved. But I think the most difficult thing to get past is how somebody close to you can do something like this, and feel okay about it and pretend like you're the one that's crazy.
Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah.
1,000%. 1,000%. It's also my ex.
Right. That's what it is with most people. So it's a girl that I dated, and most of the people that I talk to is somebody that they dated. I talked to a guy a couple of days ago on an interview, and when he told his story, I came to believe that it could be his ex's ex that put him on remote neural monitoring, and that makes sense to me too, the way he described it, because I know that any girl that I've dated over the past few years, if they weren't already on remote neural monitoring, then these people that are gang stalking me put them on remote neural monitoring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awful. That's awful. It's hard.
Yeah. So let me stir things up a little bit. All right. So my stance on a lot of these things. But
like what?
Well, a lot of the ways that it works, and in particular, for the most part, I don't believe police are involved with gang stalking. But I know you've had some situations with some police, and a lot of people seem to think that the police are involved, and it's very possible, and everybody's allowed to disagree, and we all have different circumstances and different situations. So, but you think they may be?
I do, and I have some really awful experiences to not just think that they are. I can't believe I'm talking about this,
Well, we don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about.
No, I think it's good, and I'm ready to start telling what's going on.
Right.
With me, and so.
Well, as long as we don't get too specific, pointing fingers with full names and addresses and things like that, then I don't think people can really say very much about anything we say. We have freedom of speech to say whatever we want to.
Okay. So, Um, I have come into a couple instances, and I won't go into detail as to what happened, but when the targeting became over, some bad things happened, and I had an officer drop me off, and I was looking for a bus terminal, and I said, I don't need to help you, and he dropped me off at a cemetery. Well, 6 months later from that, I got a court date in the mail saying that he wanted me to come to court. And just recently, I went to that court date, and when I went, they didn't say anything. They said, "Ma'am, you missed the appointment. You're supposed to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning." And I'm like, "Well, I live far away. This was out of my state." And I said, "Is there anything you could do?" And she went back, and she said, "Oh, everything's all set. You don't even need to go before a judge." So I put, I'm not sure if I showed you the paper, but I put it up on my Facebook, and I've told other targeted individuals, and they gave me a letter that stated that everything was all set and that there were no findings. I didn't have to go before a judge or before a magistrate or anything or anyone. I didn't have to pay any fees or do anything. And I just told I had brought one of my, somebody with me, and I just told them, like, this is the game. This is the game. And I'm not really sure of how in depth it goes, but this has been what I've been going through. And because I was going through these things, I thought that I couldn't get a job, and I thought because they were really messing with me at my last job, and recently I did get a job, and I was like, you know what? I'm not playing their games anymore. It might be a game for them, but this is my life.
Right.
And I'm gonna take back my life and enjoy my life, because all of us, we only get one. And it might be hard for me right now what they're doing, but everybody has difficulties in life, and I'm not going to let that stop me from living. So,
Right. I have the same outlook. A lot of things have happened with gang stalkers, and they were very successful in the beginning for a good time at destroying my life, and over time. I learned how to deal with this, and I started to fight back, especially by going public and talking about things. And now it's starting to be a really good thing that me and a lot of other people are talking about this, because we're not all crazy, and we're not all making this stuff up. So there's these particular group of people that have access to neural monitoring, and they're giving it to other people, and they're putting everybody else on remote, and this is growing every single day, and they're intent is to destroy anybody that gets in the way of their fun. And for me, it's not fun, and I know for you it's not fun. And I agree. I'm not going to let them destroy my life, and I insist on being successful.
That's good.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you're making moves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I stopped, not this year, maybe last year, but not this year. Now it's on. And it's good. It's good. It just allows you to see the darkness that is in the world today, and the things that are hidden, that people are suffering, that nobody knows. And so it's so amazing to be able to say what's going on, because there's a lot of people that aren't able to talk about it. There's a lot of people that don't know even what they're going through. They just know that I'm not crazy, but I feel crazy. Things are happening, and nobody's helping them. There is no. So it's just so amazing to be able to say, like, this is happening.
Right. Well, the guy I spoke to last night, Tim, on an interview, he says he's been targeted 15 years, but he's only known about it for 3 years. And prior to that, he thought that maybe he was crazy. So I know a lot of people think that. My circumstance was a little different, because everything that happened in the right time frame, and I knew the people that were doing it right when me and this girl split up, and it started happening, and she was the main one involved, and her people, and I knew half of them. So I knew from the beginning that I wasn't crazy. But that's just when I started to get gang stalked. Before that, I was on remote neural monitoring, and I had no idea. So, and a lot of people don't. Most people that are on neural monitoring remotely, they don't know. If they're not experiencing torture and gang stalking, then they don't know.
Right. They don't know. Well,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's good that it's getting out there, so that people can know exactly what's going on to them, and they're not going off of like whatever is being put in their minds or what society says, and they know exactly what's really happening. You know.
Right, right. Well, mind control is broadcast, and everybody feels some type of way. And psychiatrists and psychologists, they're in the business of people being crazy. So
Yeah.
if you go and see one and he says, no, you're perfectly fine, you don't ever have to come back here again, then he's not going to make very much money. You know, it's kind of like a mechanic. If you take your car somewhere, well, you're going to need something on your car, even if you don't. It's just
Right.
business to them. And pharmaceutical companies are making $20 billion a year, and you know, everybody's depressed and anxious and all of these things, and there's a pill for everything and a disorder for everything. So
Mhm.
maybe a lot of these things really don't exist, and maybe a lot of these things are because of broadcast.
I think so. I think so. I think it has to do a lot with who's behind the targeting and the level of power that they have as far as who their families are,
Right,
how into this they are. Because I know that the person who's behind mine, which again we won't say any names, but his family is behind him. They're a very powerful family where I am, and in this community.
right,
And so he's able to use that, and so it's so important to be able to have an outreach for myself,
right,
because I wouldn't be able to. I would just be stuck in the situation, and yeah, no.
right. So you know, a lot of people think that I would completely disagree with that. That it has to do with powerful people, but the girl that put me on remote neuromonitoring, her family was in a powerful
Right.
situation, and I believe maybe that's how she came to have access to this technology.
Yes.
So it may have something to do with that, but on the other hand, she spread it around like a STD or something. So now now a lot of people that I know of have neuromonitoring, and they're nobody special. You know,
Right.
the 15-year-old up the street has it, and you know, I know 100 people that have it. You know, and I've had 50 gang stalkers over the last 4 or 5 years on my channel, and most of them are nobody special. But I believe initially it did come from her for most of these people. So, but it is everywhere. This is worldwide,
Right. I agree.
right? So, Leo, we talked about all of these targeted people a few times in our conversations, and you know, there's a lot of controversy here and there on Facebook, and everybody's calling everybody else a perp or a gang stalker, and
Hard.
you know,
Hard.
there is a lot of propaganda out there, and there is a lot of pretenders out there pretending to be targeted people that are not targeted people, and there's
I
a lot
agree.
of people trying to make money and sell their ideas and take advantage of targeted people, and to get on board with the next big thing that they're not really experiencing the things that we are experiencing.
Right. I agree.
Right.
Are you talking about the big name one? The guy in the big name? I won't say his name.
Well, no, I'm not gonna say any names, but I'm just saying there's, if you know, if you're a targeted person and you look around the targeted groups, then there's a lot of finger pointing. But um, you know, I've had 3 or 4 people that are kind of big names to hit me up and ask me to do maybe like shows or to talk
Mhm.
about things, or um, and there's a few people that I believe may be either looking for an opportunity, or they
Mhm.
may be involved with mind control in any way themselves. Um,
Mhm.
you know, there is a few people that point their finger at me sometimes, but uh, a lot of people have pointed the
It's
finger at me
hard.
here and there,
Okay.
but
It's hard.
none of the big people have pointed a finger at me. And I think a lot of the reason is because um, I have a big following, and a lot of the people that really go through this, they kind of know what's going on. So, um,
It's hard when you're the only one. You know, it's
right,
hard. And You get a lot of these. Well, I don't know about anybody else. I can only speak for myself. But most people that come that want to help have all been on some strategic assignment to do otherwise,
Right.
with an ulterior motive and agenda. Not only that, obviously it's hard when your ex is the one who's put you on. So trust is already going to be an issue with targeted individuals, and they're already being able to implement different thoughts by way of dream or words, feelings.
Right.
So it's just hard to really be able to trust people because most people are just, I guess, for me, I've learned that a lot of people are evil and have done a lot of real bad things without caring about the person at all. So it's just really hard to trust people.
Right. Well, I know that over the years I've learned that most people are not involved, and most people just don't believe in it or they've never heard of anything like this. But in the beginning, it was very difficult, and they had me thinking all kinds of stuff. So, right from the beginning, I was thinking that my little brother was in on it, and my mother knew about it, and all of this, like all of these people, everybody was in on it, and they could see what you see and they know what you're thinking. So if you think the slightest thought about somebody might be in on it, then they can run with that. But the best thing to do really is just to stay in communication with your close people and your close family, and to make sure that that you don't buy into that, because in most cases your family and stuff like that are not going to be in on it, and that's just something that gang stalkers want you to believe to try to isolate you.
Right. I agree. I absolutely agree. I thought it was my family too.
Right.
My mom, my brothers, and my cousins. And the most amazing thing is to stop thinking that and going back and getting those family members, because it gets you out of isolation.
Right.
And you have support. And that's the one thing that it's almost like that lion that goes after the gazelle and is able to isolate the gazelle so that it can kill it and devour it. Like that isolation. That they try to like so severely isolate us so that we are by ourselves. So that it's just so much easier to do so much bad stuff when you're isolated. And so
Right.
we need that support. And I'm having so much fun with my family right now.
That's
So
good. I'm
grateful.
glad for you. Okay, so I'm running out of time. Do you want to plug in anything, or like a Facebook or anything like that, or do you have any groups or anything that you want to?
No.
Okay,
No, just
that's cool. So you're looking great. Do you think you might want to come back on the show again?
yeah.
Okay,
That's good.
cool. So everybody, this is Charlia from Boston, and she is a targeted individual, and I'm Kevin Christian, and we're on remote neural monitoring. Yeah.